Fit for Life Radio, episode number 78. Inching our way closer, triple digits.
One day.
Today we're going to do, it's really more just almost a rant. Just something that
That's pretty much all this is going to be today.
We probably touched on it before in more formal topics and settings, but in general, we're going to talk about just exercise and this is your body.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, don't destroy it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Really more just, we meet with new people at our gym. We had someone come through the other day who had torn their bicep tendon, which is, that's like serious stuff.
Yeah,
It normally doesn't happen accidentally. Well, it never happens on purpose.
Yeah.
But there's some
But it's
things,
hard to make it happen, man.
Yeah.
Like,
and you just want to realize that, if you have a coach or a trainer, at the end of the day, there's a huge responsibility. Like, it's people's bodies.
Yeah.
You can go on YouTube and watch stuff and
you see people doing like really cool things or wild things.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's not a video game.
Yeah. This is your body, dude. It's not something you can just play around with and, or a toy, something you can just put down, or something that just goes back to the way it was before you heard it. There's consequences to exercise, and exercise is it's risky. It's just a risky activity, and you can mitigate the risk as best you can by making really, smart choices with programming. But, there's plenty of people out there that maybe don't know better, or coaches that just suck and, want to do things for entertainment value or make people feel cool or whatever that may be. And that's dangerous.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the root of it too is people overvalue fatigue.
Yeah, thinking I need to be so tired and destroyed and worn out, and that's just not the case for making progress in some way.
Yeah, in reality, fatigue almost can be a huge enemy, because if you're always training in a fatigue state, especially with strength and resistance training stuff, you really could be reinforcing bad form and bad habits.
And especially somebody who's we'll call a beginner, right? If you're a pro, and you understand what you're doing, maybe a pro CrossFitter, you have to train in a fatigue state at some point. But we're talking beginners here, and you're trying to
have to build a base.
Yeah, you have no base
of technique and form,
and just no understanding of what your body's actually capable of.
Yeah.
So that's dangerous, because you have no idea what you're doing, basically.
Well, let's use an example. So we had a client, our new person I sat down with, and they had at an old program torn their bicep tendon, and they're overweight, have a heavier body mass index, but they also told me how they lost a bunch of weight from surgery. And so I asked them right away. I knew that if they snapped something, they had to been hanging, doing something like this. I was like, "Were you hanging from anything?" And they said they were doing burpee chin-ups, right? Which is where you do burpees, and each burpee you jump into a pull-up bar, and you kind of grab it and do. So it almost gives you the momentum. So people if you can't do a strict chin-up, it gives you momentum to kind of get into that chin-up. But then you're sitting there also doing burpees with this.
Yes,
you're fatiguing, right? So understand that when you get cardiovascularly fatigued, you're literally not able to replace the oxygen you need, right? So your body you're gonna be weaker.
Yeah, you're using glycogen, and you're gonna deplete that, and then your muscles can't do their job as well. Yeah. And you're just out of breath.
So then let's break it down. Then also I asked how, this person weighed over 300 pounds at the time. So they didn't have the strength or prereqs to even of doing a chin-up.
Yeah.
So think about it. If you do a strict chin-up, well, it's not just your muscles pulling you up, it's also your joints and ligaments.
Everything's got to be able to handle it.
But if you just work to where you can do real chin-ups and train them, now you're building the musculature, you're building the joint and ligament integrity to be able to do them.
Yeah. And something to understand too is that, for a lot of movements, we'll kind of focus in on maybe bodyweight movements, because they're relative, right? It's relative strength. Something like a chin up or even a push up, if you have, a higher body fat percentage, it's going to be harder straight up.
It's just more weight.
It's just more weight to move. Now think about somebody who,
if you're 300 pounds,
doing a push-up is,
or doing a pull-up. Well, that's like a 150-pound person doing a pull-up with a 150
yeah,
pound
that's like me doing
weight.
pull-ups with Gary on my back is essentially what that is. And so realize that that might not be my best option for, training that pattern, right? I might be better off doing something like a lat pull down or whatever to, get stronger and then also maybe lose weight so I can kind of meet in the middle and, maybe one day be able to do a chin up. And same thing with push-ups, do a dumbbell press instead of a push-up. And as your, body weight and strength kind of converge, but you'll be better at them.
Yeah. And aside from kind of, I don't want to get too far into just like the programming and stuff behind it. I more want to keep going with the rant of how ridiculous this is and irresponsible, right?
Yeah.
So then you take someone who doesn't have the integrity, joint integrity, the strength, and now you're fatiguing them, and then you're putting them in a compromised position, hanging 300 pounds hanging from a bar that they aren't able to even
and then just
do normally.
Telling them to repeatedly do it. And that's not just one, it's a bunch.
Yeah. Then you get an awful injury.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like that's completely avoidable.
Yeah. You put somebody in a bad position and it's our job as coaches to do what's best for each individual person. Now we might do like group training, but we do a damn good job of making sure that every person's taken care of and every person is doing a variation of an exercise that is suitable to them. And that's important. And that's our job, is to make sure that this person's prepared to do what we're asking. And if they're not, and I either encourage it or turn a blind eye, then like that's on me.
And it's understanding that, first of all, like what is your goal, right? And most people's goals, 90% of the people we meet with, they want to improve their body composition, which essentially is losing body fat and then gain muscle strength, things like that. Well, just going to the gym and doing 100 burpees and burpee pull-ups and running around the gym 4 times to then going to do like a dumbbell press. So mixing all your strength stuff with your cardio stuff so that you can just be tired and fatigued. It's not doing any of those things.
No, it's making you tired.
It's literally...
That's it.
What dumbbell press do you think you're going to have better form on? One where you sit there and that's all you're focused on, and then you stop and rest appropriately in between, and then do it again with intent and focus? Or one where you just ran around the block 2 times, now you're gasping for air, and then having to grab a weight, and you're just really probably at that point trying to get through it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, what am I trying to accomplish? So yeah, it's just, yeah.
And that's the thing. At the end of the day, look, we want to encourage exercise and people that are encouraging exercise, but you have to remember this is your body. Like these are, like, you only get one of all these things.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a little more responsibility. And also too, the great thing with this is you get better results by having more focus and actually not chasing fatigue.
Yeah.
Fatigue has a time and place. That's not to say don't do in cardio that pushes you into a super discomfortable place, but you just don't really want to be pairing it with strength, technique-driven exercises.
And that shouldn't be like the basis of, is this a good workout or not?
Yeah.
Like that's not a very good indicator, especially with strength stuff.
And unfortunately, that's where most places operate out of. They're like, oh, if we get a new person that wants to try it,
we want to make them tired.
We need to make them tired. So therefore, every workout's like, well, let me impress people with how tired I can make them.
Yeah.
But the reality is, for your current clients, you're doing them a disservice.
Yeah. What are they getting better at all with that? No.
And then you're almost programming people to think, this is what I expect. I need to be this tired.
This is the only way to get good results or to get a good workout in. And another thing to realize too is that I think people get caught up with like a exercise variation, right? Like we use a chin up, for example, thinking that like I have to do this to get better at it, right? Where like you might be better off just, like I said, losing weight, never touching a chin up, and doing, like I said, a lat pull down is getting your back strong, and just know, like, you have to know your ability. Like if you can't do something, make it easier to where you can execute well, do that for a long time, and then maybe slowly step up. But if you overextend yourself, it's never going to end up in a good place. Like that's how you get hurt. You get hurt, you're doing things you're not prepared for. And, when you're on your own, you have to be a little more aware of that. But if you have a coach, your coach should be telling you, you're not ready for this. And it's fine to say that. And we might piss people off sometimes when we're like, hey, you need to take it a step back. But that's our job. And if it makes somebody mad, which it has in the past, sometimes it's just a little bit of an ego hit. That's fine. It's part of our job to not be everybody's best friend in every moment, but also keeping them safe and in a zone they should be in that moment.
Yep. And most people, I think, will say they want to work out. They want to feel better. They want to move better. They want to look better. Just chasing fatigue literally does none of those
Zero.
things.
None.
All it does is improve mental health, or not mental health. It improves for a lot of people, like that mental edge. You know, so to go to that place where you have to push through, which if you want to train that, you only need to do it like once a week, once a month.
Yeah, that's not something you have to train all the time.
And then as far as look better, that comes down to maintaining, building muscle and losing body fat, which is a big part, which essentially is nutrition and resistance training properly. So, there's not like fall on the floor fatigue with any of those things. Then move better involves moving better. So it's learning how to move your body correctly against resistance, things like that. Well, if you're super fatigued, your form breaks down.
You're not reinforcing.
So now you're actually reinforcing poor movement patterns, and then feel better. Well, that's where it could be a toss-up, right? A lot of people think they feel better feeling completely exhausted, but you're normally chasing cortisol, you're chasing the stress hormone, you're chasing that endorphin and high. But the reality is most people will feel better over the long run by...
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out. If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop mixed in water once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process, so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
having a little more tame workouts because it's going to impact, it's going to be super stressful. You're going to start to have that zombie feeling. You're going to struggle
and
with
that
sleep.
adds up over time, like a lot.
Yeah. I just had well, he used to be a nutrition client, but he's just on Instagram, and he messaged me saying how he was struggling with just sleep and stuff. And so I asked him how his workouts were, and he mentioned how he was doing like 30-second rests between sets, right, of his exercises. So really after the first set, it almost becomes cardio. You're getting super fatigued, and he added in more rest and a little less total sets. And instantly, he said he had the best night of sleep he's had in months.
Yeah, because you're not overstressing yourself. You know, that kind of, it really ramps up your nervous system when you're doing that. Like, we'll call it high intensity stuff because I'm sure his heart rate got pretty high not resting like that. But yeah, your nervous system can't handle that a lot of the times, and it overextends you, but that makes you unable to fall asleep because you're like, you know, you're ramped up basically and can't come back down into that parasympathetic state. So
you just need to step back and ask yourself, what do I really want to accomplish? If it's
what's the
to
goal?
Move better, feel better, look better, then chasing fatigue and doing these ridiculous workouts where you just show up and your warm-up's like 100 burpees, there's no point, right? Like that's literally just like, here's a quick fix. You'll feel like you accomplished a lot because you're tired. But the reality is, like, it's not really moving you anywhere.
It's not moving your needle at all. It's just keeping you happy day to day with, oh, I did work. Oh, I did work. And that's just repeating that until
And the ironic thing
stop.
is, if you want to get better at doing 100 burpees, well, you need to focus on getting a leaner body composition and stronger, right? And then literally without ever doing a burpee,
you're going to be better.
If you address those two things, you will then become a burpee machine.
Yeah. Dude, you could do 2 exercises. You could do, I'll say, either a push-up or a dumbbell press and a rear foot elevated split squat.
Yeah, and that's going to
that
make
will
you
greatly improve your
and
burpee.
dial in your nutrition, get rid of excess body fat.
Yeah.
Because remember, a burpee is body weight exercise. You're moving your body from point A to point B, so the less body fat you have, the easier it's going to be.
Yep.
Because the less you have to move.
Especially when you have to do 100 as a warm-up.
Yeah.
If someone told you had to do 100 burpees for a warm-up, what would you do?
Turn around and leave.
I'd fight them and then leave.
Not do them. What are those jokes where it's like, would you rather fight like 100
horse-sized ducks?
Horse-sized ducks or one, you know, wait, 100?
One duck-sized horse.
No, 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck.
There you go. Bro, duck-sized horses. Dude, that horse-sized duck, that's like a dinosaur, bro.
But you...
Now, if we go, I think there's a difference.
Maybe it's like a bear where you could yell at it and it'll scare it away.
Maybe, but when they start flapping their
Okay,
wings,
well, let me ask you this.
Okay, what if it was a goose?
I was going to say, let's not even do these hypothetical animals. Would you rather fight 100 geese or one bear?
It's actually hard.
I think I'm going with the bear.
I don't know. What kind of bear, man? Black bear? If you say grizzly bear, I'm going with the geese. But a black
Just
bear,
a standard black bear.
just a standard. Man, I don't know. That's risky though. What if he had a bad day and he's like, I don't care what you do, I'm going to take it out.
What if 50 of the geese had a bad day? Well, they always have a bad day.
Yeah, geese are so mean. I'm going with the geese, man. I can't take the risk. Okay, if I go inside, the bear can still follow me, but the geese.
Dude, the geese, at least if the bear gets you, it's probably quick.
Yeah, but the geese.
What if you're kind of beating the geese, and then all of a sudden they just kind of start to win, and then you get overwhelmed,
Death by
and then you
100
just
geese.
know this is it.
Yeah, slowly getting destroyed by geese. I still got to go geese, man. I gotta.
They're just pooping on you?
Yeah. I gotta do it.
Oh, man. That's what you're doing. That's when you got, it's like...
Reevaluate what you're doing. And, like, just take inventory. Is this benefiting me? Or am I just getting tired? And like we said, like, there's a time and place for, like, fatigue. Absolutely is. But every day and every workout is not, like, where you want that to be.
Yeah.
Like, most of your workouts should be resistance training with long rest periods. Now, we'll classify long as...
It's moderate.
Yeah.
1 to 3 minutes.
Exactly. That's what I was going to go with.
Depending on... the more demanding an exercise is,
The more rest you
the
need.
more rest you need.
Like split squats, bro?
Yeah. If you're doing split squats right, you're happy to have 3-4 minutes rest.
Yeah, like, dude, between legs, just give me 3 minutes.
Yeah. tricep press downs, 1 minute's probably going to be fine.
Exactly. It's just not as systemically demanding. So, but like if you do an exercise and then 30 seconds later you're doing another set, one, like you're not using enough of a load. If you can you're ready to go in 30 seconds, or that next set or next sets are going to be just garbage compared to your first one. And you're not going to really get anything out of it aside from getting tired, which doesn't do a whole lot in terms of results.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of it comes too from like athletics, and when people, used to play sports or they still do, and you associate, you're in competition, you're pushing yourself.
You have to.
And you push past fatigue, but you have to understand that that's competition, right? And competition's not healthy, right?
No,
it's not. It
comes with its risks,
It's just a sport. It's things we made up to do for fun, right? It doesn't mean that they're like a holy grail of health and
they're not.
Fitness.
Think
right?
about how many people that got hurt playing sports, like during a game or whatever.
You're literally, it's probably that's how most people have gotten hurt, is playing sports. You're literally opening the door and welcoming higher risk for the reward
of winning,
right? And
which is fine, like when you understand the risk. But if you're a 40-year-old person that just wants to feel better, like that risk is not what you want.
Yeah, and also step back and look at it this way. Well, you're also a kid, so you're more resilient typically. Or if you're a professional athlete, you're getting paid, or you're still typically in your 20s.
Exactly.
So notice how most professional athletes, your 30s, you're done, right? So why then does people in their 30s, 40s, 50s
feel like they have to train like a pro
feel like
athlete?
they have to train, and their workouts need to make them feel how competition felt when they were 18 years old.
Yeah.
You got to let it go.
Yeah, and realize there's a difference between training and competing or even testing, right? If you're always testing, right, you go for a 1 rep max every day. How are you going to feel? And are you even going to improve? You're just kind of trying the same weight over and over, and that's going to have diminishing returns, and really you're not going to get much return on it. But training is, working out at a lower weight than your 1 rep max to slowly get stronger over time.
And even let's separate it from exercise and look at gymnastics, track, for NFL football players.
Look at their practice.
Their competition intensity is never. They don't train at that at all.
Never.
Think about gymnastics. You spend all your time working on different little techniques and forms and skills, and then you work on your routine, and then you kind of go through your routine a ton practice-wise at a lower intensity until you piece it all together, and then you get the benefit of competition and the adrenaline and all that. Same thing, football. They play 16 games a year.
Yeah, like their practices are not...
It's breaking down all the different little skills and lower intensity.
And plays and all of that. Yeah.
Yet everyone wants to be 40 years old and go to the gym and treat every single day like it's this... Like it's a
game,
a competition, and they need to be laying on the floor puking, right?
Yeah, and it's not the reality. Even track, like how much rest between, like if you're doing sprint intervals or something, bro, the amount of rest.
Well, it's funny how somehow in fitness, like interval training came about, high intensity interval training. But if
it's not even
truly doing a high intensity interval, you need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes of rest.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you weren't going all out.
Yeah. It's all about like doing, like, we'll say peak performance. It may not be 100%, but like very high output, and then resting until you can literally repeat that exact same output again, which may be 5, 6 minutes.
Yeah. And I was a sprinter, and I'm a fan of track and field. And the way you train, say your 100-meter dash, you do one, right, at like 80% effort, 90%, and then you rest like 10 minutes.
And then you just chill.
Because you don't want to run fatigued.
No, because then you might get hurt.
Well, and your form's not going to be on point, right? So, and you're not going to be as explosive. It's just, again, realizing, where some of maybe these thoughts come from. Another one is just from like anything, like the media commercials. We see, all this like intense stuff in a Reebok commercial, and it's like, well, that's how I got to do it, right? Or and then another big one is our own. People feel like they need to punish themselves, right? So you're upset about food you ate or your lack of activity. So to make up for
real hard,
I have to like feed this exhaustion, and yeah,
It's just not the answer, man. One of the worst things to ever happen is the phrase "no pain, no gain." Dude, I hate it. It just makes my blood boil, because then it makes people think that like
It
you
needs to be
have to
painful.
like
Yeah.
suffer and be in pain, and it like on an individual level, like some people literally don't tell us when they're in pain
Yeah.
because of it. They think like, oh, this is just part of the process. But like if
Yeah.
you're literally hurting, stop. Like,
And pain's different than discomfort.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Like, say you do a set of dumbbell presses, your muscles are, and you push it close to failure with good form,
That's
you're going to have
discomfort.
fatigue and discomfort.
but if your
But
shoulders
if your
hurting,
shoulder's screaming at you,
like don't do what you're doing, or go lighter on it. But yeah, that's one of my least favorites.
Mm-hmm.
It just drives me up the wall. It just sets a really weird expectation for people.
and that's another problem with fatigue, is actually, say you're in this super state of fatigue, all of a sudden it can mask pain.
Yeah.
Right? So then you're actually training through some, like an injury, or your body signaling that you're about to be injured.
And not quite realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is not a good thing either.
Yeah, we've had people who are runners and they just kind of go and just want to get in that zone where they're super tired, and then they're like, I don't feel my injuries now. But really it's just because your body's pumping like
Yeah.
endorphins
All the
and
feel-goods, man.
Basically blocking the pain, but it doesn't mean it's not happening.
It didn't go away. It's just under the surface.
Yeah. So just realize, and unfortunately, I wish all fitness professionals really took the responsibility of, you have these people's bodies, and we have one, right shoulder and one left shoulder and one right knee and one left knee, and then it's your responsibility. You can't eliminate all risk, but
No, you absolutely can't. And then like stuff happens sometimes, but like it's
there's some stuff that's super careless and super bad.
Exactly.
And if you ever notice that you go to a training facility and that seems like what they're selling is fatigue, like we have the most tiring workouts.
Yeah.
You should probably run the
go
other
somewhere
way.
else.
Yeah.
That's just
Because you need to have confidence to do it properly, which it's not going to be as fatiguing. There's going to be more emphasis on focus and intent.
That's going to benefit everybody, man.
Yeah, that's how you get better. That's how you move better. That's how you feel better. That's how you look better.
Yeah. And really, dude, people put their trust in us too, to do what's best for them. And if we don't, we're letting people down by doing that.
Yeah.
As professionals. So if anyone's listening to this that coaches, just remember that people trust us and they pay us to have their best interests at heart, and not just to entertain them or make them feel good about the work that they just did.
Yeah.
I feel like I need a drink after that.
Yeah. Got it off my chest.
It's 8 a.m.
All right. Well, hopefully that sits with some of you.
Yeah.
Because it's, and again, it's not that those kind of barn burner workouts don't have a time and place. No, for one, hopefully when you are doing something that's going to fatigue you a lot, the exercise selection lowers the risk,
which is something we always try to do.
So it's kind of dummy proof stuff that you can't screw up. Like sleds are great, things like that.
And that's why we do a lot of machine work,
air bikes,
rowers, bikes, things like that. They're just, instead of doing we'll use a barbell snatch as an example. This is a high risk, and when you throw that into a cardio style workout, it's just your form breaks down. There's a lot of risk without it being a cardio workout. So that